Right. The conversation is still on language diversity here. We're moving it onto another level. We have our guest live with us in the studio. His name is Adedeji Odulesi. He's a versatile master of ceremonies with a sense of humor. You're about to find out. His ability to speak with clear accents, French, German, Spanish, English, Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. Also, he just added that he speaks Pidgin very fluently and Ijebu. It greatly endears him to audience from all walks of life. He came to limelight through his viral Deeper Life Valedictory Service video in 2019. He anchors state events for Lagos State. He also anchors for chartered institutes and for top schools, ECOWAS and AU events. We're about to check him out. This is a video of Adedeji Odulesi, and we'll meet him personally. Don't go anywhere.
Utiliser cette fantastique occasion, monsieur et madame, pour dire bonjour à tout le monde. Je suis très heureux pour savoir que vous êtes ici. Nous sommes ici à Lagos, la centre d'excellence, et nous sommes ici aussi grâce à Deeper Life High School. Je crois que vous trouverez tout ce que nous allons faire ici aujourd'hui très fantastique et merveilleuse. Comme je suis le maître de cérémonie, je voudrais vous assurer que vous n'avez pas de problème, et assez à manger et assez à boire. Merci beaucoup et que Dieu vous bénisse. Guten Tag, meine Damen und Herren. Herzlich willkommen zu unserem Programm bei Deeper Life High School organisiert. Mein Name ist Adedeji Odulesi. Ich komme aus Nigeria. Ich wohne hier in Lagos. Ich arbeite auch in Lagos. Ich kann vielleicht ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen, weil ich bei Goethe-Institut Deutsch lerne. Ich wünsche euch eine wunderbare, spannende Erfahrung. Danke. Buenos días a todos, saludos a todos. Me llamo Deji, soy nigeriano, vivo en Lagos, trabajo también en Lagos. Quiero aprovechar esta oportunidad a mostrar mi capacidad de hablar muchos idiomas. Gracias. To, domin waɗanda ke jin harshen Hausa da suka zo wannan tare na musamman da makaranta na musamman Deeper Life High School suka shirya mana, mun gode kwarai da gaske ga Allah madaukakin sarki wanda ya kawo mu wannan taro. Muna kuma fata cewa tare da alherin Allah za ku ji daɗin duk ɓangarori na wannan shiri. Allah shi saka muku da alheri. Domin karancin lokaci zan dasa aya a nan. Na gode kwarai. Mako dimmandi gojureba. Ekelewo mono. Amam na ebe ọbụla n'ụwa a na-eme ihe ọma dịka nke Deeper Life High School mege n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị ga-ahụrịrị ndị Igbo n'ebe ahụ. Ọ bụrụ na ndị Igbo anọghị ebe ahụ jọgburu onwe ya, ọ wee eziokwu ka ọ washi. Igwe kwenu, kwezionu. Anyị nwa ndị Igbo, anyị dịzi too much. Ebe ọ bụla ị gara n'ụwa, ọ bụrụ na ndị Igbo anọghị ebe ahụ jọgburu onwe ya, eziokwu ka ọ washi. Ị gahala na Brazil, South America, France, Britain. Ị ga-ahụ ndị Igbo n'ebe ahụ, eziokwu ka ọ washi. As long as ana akpata ego ebe ahụ, ị gakwa na Sahara Desert, Sambisa Forest. As long as ana akpata ego ebe ahụ, ị ga-ahụrụ ndị Igbo n'ebe ahụ, eziokwu ka ọ washi. Ọ ga-adịla anyị mma ka m dobere ya n'ebe a maka oge ma cheta atụọrọ ọmara atụọrọ ofeke ome gịnị ụka akpara akpa gịnị ka eji ekwe ya. Waranụ m aka biko. Tẹ́bá rò bí pé ẹ ti pàdé mọ́là tàbí ọmọ Ìgbò kò jọ o. Adedeji Odulesi lórúkọ mi, Yorùbá pọ́nbélé ni mí. Bàbá tó bí mi lọ́mọ Yorùbá ni wọ́n, ìyá tó bí mi lọ́mọ Yorùbá ni wọ́n.
Apumaka. Wait, isn't Apumaka leave me alone?
Yes. Apumaka.
Apumaka is leave me alone?
Yes.
Wait, what's the Aka one that is clapping?
Aka. The Maka now.
Hey, you are welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us at DDG.
Merci beaucoup.
I mean, what we just saw is amazing. I am tempted to ask you, how did this all start for you?
Well, my dad or my parents were civil servants. So I was born in Warri, Delta State. So I'm Wafi. Now we get Pigeon, original one. Yeah. So from there, primary 5, we moved to the transfer. Federal, it was a federal civil servant. So we were transferred to the north, precisely Sokoto.
Okay.
So primary 5 to the whole of my secondary school, SS3, that was in the north. And as a kid, I interacted with the houses. No biases. So, like you said, 0 to 11, I interacted with the houses, and I picked the Hausa language. Très bien. Naji Hassan, dalla, 100%. Then from there, my parents were transferred to the east, Imo State, where we speak the general Igbo you hear. The Iha, not the Ifa.
Okay.
You know, you hear the Iha, you hear the Ifa, you hear the Tolonto, Brazil, Anambra side.
Yeah.
We have the original one. It's not, they don't drag it with us. The
Who's
Imo, we have the original one, Imo State. Later they divided into 2. In the 90s when I was there, it was just Imo. Then they divided it while I was still there, Imo Abia. So the Igbo Bible is written in our language, in the Imo version. So there I picked the Igbo language and the dialect there, Oweri.
Okay.
In Igbo, we say Imerekpole. We say
what does Imerekpole mean?
Imerekpole, how are you?
Oh, okay.
Like here now, Pamari Are Mama.
That fine.
Is it has the RR.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My listeners will understand the Igbo. So then from there, but as for French, we did it in secondary school while I was there, at Sokoto, and I was like one of the best students there. I just had this natural flair for I didn't know to bring me to Impact. Then
Spanish and the other language.
German. I'm in master ceremonies, so I went for a national program, and then I blew the languages, and then somebody walked up to me and spoke German, which is Deutsch, different from Dutch, which we're analyzing, Holland, Deutsch, German, that is Germany, and a few other 2 other countries do German. Okay, so I talked the child. I told the person, when next we're meeting, I will speak the language. So I went to Goethe Institute in Lagos, not in Ogun State. And then I went and picked up the language, and I started using it to start doing those things. As for Spanish, I learned it using apps, like you mentioned, Duolingo, and there are other apps. And but the pidgin never come off from my because Wafi, we know they carry last. Go find out. If we could carry last, go change them for them.
No, they change out here. Not change out for here.
All right, now how have you been able to, because see, we understand that language dies when it's not used.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, we saw that video and we saw how it was easy for you to translate from one to another without mincing words. So how have you been able to maintain that consistency? Who do you speak it with? How do you rehearse? How do you retain your knowledge of the languages?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a talkative.
Okay.
So I have no biases. I don't, if I come to a place where I find somebody who speaks the languages, old or young, immediately I begin to interact. Okay, I left the North 1990, and look at the time now. And I only went back for my youth service. But each day I meet a Hausa man, I don't need to be told it's an Hausa man. I can look at the face and say this is an Hausa man.
Yeah.
I can look at the face and say that this is Yoruba. It's very
easy to.
Blood is thicker than water now. You'll understand what I'm saying now. So I interact with them, and the language comes up straight away. And then I'm a pastor, so I have my Bibles in Hausa, in Igbo, in French, in Spanish, in German, in Yoruba. I have my Bible in those. So I could go to church, and if you are the one that you used to peep in school, you also want to peek into where I'm reading in the Bible, you will not understand what I'm reading. Because I may be reading a German Bible. Or a French Bible. C'est la situation.
Interesting. That's very nice. Have you been able to, you know, the times whereby you know and speak a language, but you may not be able to teach that language? Have you been able to, teach people all of these languages that you have at the moment?
Not in a formal setting. I'm not a teacher by training, but by interaction. Look, one of the key, the means where I learn my language is that I don't ask for permission before I speak it to you. So once I meet you, even if you don't understand language, I use it to practice.
Yeah.
So by that personal attitude, I've been able to influence people around me to learn the language, because they say, oh, I always wanted to learn French. So since I'm a willing teacher, so they come around me, I help them out with their homeworks. My parents ask me to help them with the children's homework and things like that. So informal, I do.
Okay, so let's look at the languages you speak: Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, German, Portuguese. Spanish. English, definitely. Yeah. Pidgin. Yeah. What else have I not mentioned?
Ijebu.
All right, so is the list growing? Are there any other languages you would like to add to this repertoire?
Portuguese is growing.
Okay.
Yes, agora eu falo português.
Okay.
Mas não muito bem.
What did you just say, please?
Google it. Google it offline.
That's even if I know how to spell it.
I wanted to check it
Agora
out.
what?
Agora means now.
Okay.
In Spanish we say ahora.
Oh, okay.
So they are sister languages. They are just sister language. They are just cheating us.
Okay.
They are mutually.
Say they're cheating.
I'm telling the truth.
Okay. So apart from Portuguese, is there any other language you like?
Yeah, I want to learn Swahili and Arabic. Already I have, you see, these languages are sister languages. Hausa borrowed through Islam, borrowed massively from
Arabic.
You were saying albosa.
Yes.
When you see al in front of a word, algebra, it's just the in Arabic.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you can easily know the root of a word. Once you see al, al-maghdam, al-majiri, al. You understand? Just know that it's from Arabic.
Okay.
Borrowed into Hausa, borrowed into Yoruba.
Interesting.
That's the flow. So, like the word dunia, you use it in Yoruba, don't you?
Yes.
But you will say it's borrowed from Hausa?
Yes.
The Hausa knew they borrowed it from Arabic.
Oh.
Swahili too, they say dunia. Even India, they say dunia.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Dunia, destinambari. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So if you know one, it helps you to know another.
Okay.
If you know one, so my brain has boxes. So when it's easy for me. It's easy for me to learn language because I have boxes already. So when I hear a new word, I can tag it to a word I've heard in another language before.
Okay.
So I retain it.
So it's
C'est facile.
Okay.
C'est facile.
Okay.
You know, you've heard facile in English before?
Yes.
To facilitate, make something easy.
Yes.
So facile.
Makes it easy. Yeah, it's easy.
Permit me to say this one before you throw a question. When something amazes you in English, you say it's fantastic, right?
Yes.
The French will say fantastic. The German will say fantastisch. The Spanish will say fantastico. The Portuguese will say fantastico. Yoruba, oh, fantastic. People will say, now the fantastic. Outside the fantastic.
It's pretty much variants of.
Yeah.
All right,
so they borrow.
All right, let's go into language diversity and how important it is. Looking at education, Bolade and I did say something earlier about how it's sometimes some of the things we didn't like to learn, mathematics, case in point, was probably because we didn't learn it our indigenous language. Now let's look at the role that diversifying languages play in education.
Yeah, if languages are diverse, it's easy for, let's say maths is taught in Yoruba, and the person understands Yoruba very well. Somebody, Tatafo did a joke one time and said that a boy was asked to buy, a servant, was asked 2 + 2 or 4 + 4. And the master complained that he didn't know it. You understand? Didn't know it. And they said, my boy knows it. The person that brought the boy said, no, he doesn't know it. They send him, he doesn't know. Then the person said, 4 akara. Plus 4, whatever. How many will you get? 4 akara, maybe another 4 akara. How many? I say 8 akara now. You understand?
Yeah.
Akara. He knows akara. You understand? But when you say 4, it could relate that. Yeah. So a language you understand can really, if taught, if you are not taught a different concept using that language, it becomes easy. Because there are certain words you hear in English, you don't even understand. You don't even understand the word very well.
Yeah.
Talk less of.
Yes.
Talk less of.
Okay.
Talk less. So I don't know if that addressed your question.
Well, actually, it almost did,
Okay.
but it shied away from it for a little bit.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to find out is, so for instance, look at you.
Yeah.
You know all these languages.
Yes.
Yeah. How has it helped you?
Wow.
In your education? Like,
Wow.
I mean, what have you learned more? You know, we keep saying the world is a global village,
Yeah.
but most of us are only bilingual. We
Yeah.
probably speak English and Yoruba.
Yeah.
We keep
Probably
saying
just speak
global
English.
Yeah, and we keep saying global village, global village. So how has that helped in your education?
Diversity of language really helps in that it gives you so many opportunities and privileges. Like I did say, if I hear a new word, I can tie it to something. Like maybe in school now, we are being taught something biology. If I hear a new word, I can tie it to something I already know in another language. So it makes it easy for me. So when people are being, maybe they see a question and the teacher intentionally put something difficult there, a word, I will know it because the difficult word is a small word in one other language. So it makes it easy for me. And then, of course, the brain has already been so primed that it can because you have learned so many languages, it means you can be diverse in many other things too. Yeah. By the way, some people said if you learn your mother tongue, it will hinder you from learning English. So they try to kill our mother tongue. It's a lie.
I disagree, actually.
If you learn your mother tongue, it's only complement. You see, it makes the box wider, so you can tie. The cells have multiplied. They are active. They want to receive. You know, the Bible says the more you give,
the more
you receive. So that's how it works.
I mean, let's talk about diversity in languages, especially in schools. So while we were growing up, they would tell us that we shouldn't speak a certain language in school because it is vernacular, especially if it is your mother tongue
yes.
or your native
language.
language. Exactly. They would, you see, and then they would ask you to pay money or you would be given punishment and all of that. And it still happens today. What do you think about that?
It's although it's been corrected.
Yes.
You see, it's a policy somersault. If you lose your language, you lose your culture. And if you lose your culture, you lose your identity. So that policy is a wrong concept, and then, it's like a colonial mentality.
Mindset.
Is that if you kill the language, you kill the people, then you can easily rule over them. Yes, so they begin to think Western, everything. They begin to feel, they themselves begin to feel second class.
Yeah,
interesting.
They begin to see you as super, which does not happen with Swahili. Swahili is a global language, national language for some countries, Kenya, Tanzania,
some East
Uganda,
African countries.
like that. Yeah, so it's but thank God it's being corrected now. I repeat, the more the merrier, the more. So your mother tongue, if your mother tongue is okay, it will help you to learn more.
Well, to correct this. So while we were learning French in school, they told us that if you could speak Yoruba, there's a high possibility that you learn French easily. There is some form of, similarities and ties, probably because of the sound.
The respect culture too.
And all of that. How true is that?
Well, I can't really say that in Yoruba French, okay? But those things you said are correct in that in Yoruba we say ou and e. In French we say tu and vous. We call it tutoyer et vous voyez. So that's English does not have. It's you.
It's you. You is
but
you.
That's the beauty of English. It's a very simple language. It does not have rules. All those rules. Sorry, let's go to Germany. Germany. German soldier, German floor, German everything, German machine. It has rules, which we can't be going to now. You understand? So there's similarity between Yoruba and French in that aspect. But as for
lexicons and all of that,
c'est complètement différent.
Okay.
Now let's look at the wider society. We've touched on language diversity in education and how fantastic it is. Let's look at the wider society. If a Bolade, me, 2 other people that are in the studio right now can speak 5 other languages and we are just in Lagos, where does that get us?
Well, Well, we are just in Lagos at the moment, but we can speak it. We're in a global village. As we interact, obviously before long, today is when we're in Lagos. Before long, we will most likely not be in Lagos again because it has wonderful opportunities that will throw open.
Okay.
AU, we can speak like 5 languages. Yeah. AU will need your assistance. Even US may need you for something, maybe, at the border or at the one desk or the other, embassies. So the opportunities are limitless. We are just 5. We are just here today. In the next 2 years, I can't guarantee we will be in Nigeria. The opportunities are boundless.
How easy is it to learn a language? I mean, knowing that some of us already have blocks set up in our brains, okay, I'm done. I mean, I can speak English, I can speak Yoruba.
I was saying earlier that so when we're learning in linguistics class, they'll tell us that the easiest time you can pick up a language is as a child, from 0 till about 10, 11. The moment you clock that 11, it gets more tedious, it gets more difficult and all of that. So now that you are over 20 or over 30 and
over 40,
you want to now pick up, and you just said you want to pick up Portuguese. I
picked it up already. In the leadership board, I'm first all the time.
Wow.
Not believe.
Interesting.
They're laughing at me, Abby. But that's how I catch fun and learn my languages. I make people laugh, and when they laugh, I am fascinated that my language is working. I can switch from tongue to tongue. So back to your question, which was?
How easy is it to learn a language as an adult?
As an adult. You see, now as a child does not have biases.
Yeah.
If a child makes a mistake now and say that I've went. I have went. You understand? You correct the child. The child is not going to feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
The child will still make attempts. Correct an adult. Just block you. You have blocked people on Instagram, on Facebook, because at times we get offended. You understand? So a child does not have biases. Then a child does not have responsibilities.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Those are the things. You understand? Yes, a child then a child is expected to play and explore. And adults cannot be expected to be playing and exploring all the time. He has responsibility. Then he has biases. Look, a black child. There was something that went viral at the time. A black during that when Floyd was killed.
Yes.
Yeah. They showed a video of a little child, white and black. They saw themselves from afar and they ran and embraced themselves. You understand? When they grow up, people will put blocks between and tell that don't interact with a black. Whites, don't interact with the black. Black, don't interact. They are your enemies. And then, so all those interactions cut down. So I personally don't agree that if you put me with a child to learn a language, the child will beat me. No. I will build the child. Why? I'm more intelligent, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yes. So I know how to manage time. Does the child know how to manage time?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
Yeah.
So I think I've been, with these few points of mine, I've been able to convince and not confuse you.
So there are no shortcuts to learning languages. It's just put your mind to it and get it done.
Yeah, those are the shortcuts. Put your mind to it. Have a plan. So like some of the apps I use, I do 5 minutes. They tell me I've completed the thing for the day. I say people are not serious. 5 minutes. With 5 minutes, when am I going to learn the language? It's a child learning it for 5 minutes. You now think I have too much responsibility. I choose only 5 minutes, and you now give me thumbs up. I put the thumb down. I spend hours. I think you once asked
about time.
Yeah,
and
I
how
spend
you
hours. Any spare time. You can't come to me and tell me that we should just stroll and go somewhere. I have vision, I have plan, I have templates I have timelines. So you can't just come into me and crash into my program and tell me we should go and do something that is different from my vision and my goals. It's a purpose. I didn't learn the languages by just learning them on the street. Like, it was a deliberate. Only that I didn't know to bring me to high impact. You get what I'm saying now?
Okay. So how do you there are times where you go for programs and they tell you that in 3 months you should be able to learn a particular language or speak it at beginner's level. How true do you think that is? Is it more difficult or it is easier?
Language by language,
All right.
Even the teachers will tell you there are languages that are easy. For instance, with my knowledge of French and Spanish, Portuguese just comes as a child's play. On a serious note, it's the same vocabulary. They're only changing it. Like I gave an instance of fantastic. You understand?
Yeah.
They're only changing it the way they're pronouncing it. Fantastico, Spanish. Fantastico, Portuguese. Is this chi you cannot say? You understand? So but if I said German now, German is a bit difficult, I must confess. But somebody who speaks Dutch, which is the one spoken in Holland and Netherlands, they are sister languages.
Okay.
And then, of course, German is also similar to English.
Yes, actually, I hear that English is a derivative from
and
German.
It's simplified.
Yes.
German are still stoic. They retain all the rules. English has removed it. We don't say thou art again.
True.
Yeah.
We make it simple. So we don't have, in German we have D-I-E for thee. We have das, we call it Neuter. Then we have dia, masculine. 3 things to replace. For instance, but to make it, to show that German is similar to English, meine Mutter is dear. Meine Mutter. Okay, let me go. Mein Vater is here. What do you think that means?
That's my father is here.
Interesting.
Interesting.
So since you get that one, I said mein Vater, but now I can say meine Mutter is auch here.
My mother is here.
Also here.
Also here.
Interesting.
Okay. Interesting.
Meine Schwester.
Your sister.
Mein Bruder.
Your brother.
So those are some of the things that so if you want to learn a language, I'm just adding this to your question. If you want to learn a language, look for a language that is similar to a language you already know. It will help you to learn it faster. If you go to a language that's completely different, you will learn it.
It's going to be more difficult. Yes.
Except, for instance, Chinese does not have any relationship with all these languages.
True.
So how would we even pick up Chinese? I want to see you pick up Chinese.
And their writing system it's not the ABC you know.
Yes,
of course.
They are just using bird.
But I'd like to see you pick up Chinese.
I started it just before COVID, Unilang. Then, we have been taught by Chinese.
Yes.
So when COVID came and the Chinese are going teaching us, what do you think I did? Balaga. I ran away.
All right, let's talk about, we talked about how language diversity helps with education. But now let's look at the education at the smallest level, primary school, secondary school. How do you think schools should, promote this diversity?
Yeah. Schools will... There's this small girl, her name escaped me now. 4 years, 5 years, she speaks many languages.
Interesting.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Yeah, her mother is a language teacher.
Oh.
Yes. So the nanny, she got like a nanny, like that. Okay, they are Russians.
Okay.
So they speak Russian at home.
Okay.
She got a nanny. She noticed that the child, maybe as a teacher, as a parent who at home, she was doing English and the mother can do it. So at home, she's doing like English, Russian. That's 2, naturally. The nanny she got for her was like French. So nanny will interact with her in French. But all these things are fun. So in schools at the primary level, you don't begin to beat a child that stops speaking Ijebu, stops speaking vernacular. Don't plant an idea that one language is good, one language is bad. All languages are
good.
Yeah. Then create interactive videos or games or dance. If, for instance, among the singing part of the education, let them learn a song in another language. Feliz Navidad. Have you heard that song over? I want to wish you Merry Christmas, yes, and but you have meant it in
okay, but those of us that changed it from Feliz Navidad to Merry Bimo.
And that's one thing I didn't do in secondary school. When people were making French of the French teachers, I didn't do that. When they said, radio, écoutez radio. I didn't do all that. I was very, very deliberate about it. Yeah. So in our educational system, if the schools, the parent, because we are part of it, it's not just the school. The education starts from home. So everybody puts it there, deliberate, encourage. My parents encouraged me. Yes. So they encouraged me.
I mean, I like...
My university, encouraged me. I was hired when I was in university. I went, by the way, to University of Agriculture, so I didn't study languages. I'm a farmer by training, you not believe.
So I like that you mentioned the fact that your parents actually encouraged
They did.
you. How can we make this happen? Because, I mean, you know, this vernacular thing that we're talking about doesn't just happen in schools. It also happens at home. You get to a point where, you know, your child will want to speak your mother tongue, and then you say, no, don't do that. Speak English, because
don't disgrace me.
Exactly. That's what they're learning in school and everything. How can we make parents actually, you know, stop that and encourage our children in speaking their languages?
Because the parents need to be given the right orientation that your mother tongue is God-given.
Yes.
God is not foolish to have given you the language. Your language has produced people like Wole Soyinka, Chinua Achebe. You understand that what made things fall apart? Look at the rich cultural heritage, the proverbs in it. Yes. Those are the things. And then ability to depict his country norms very well and bring it to global stage.
Yeah.
So it means a Chinua Achebe, a Wole Soyinka and co are proud of their heritage. They speak their languages. Let me give you this scenario. Wole Soyinka was invited to a program when he was still serving with decent road traffic when he was still there. Yes. So he was there, and then they had a town hall meeting in Ife, University of Ife, and but it was a town meeting, okay? So students were maybe in the majority and spoke in English, you know, speaks the quaint English, and then somebody stood and said, Prof just switched into Yoruba straight away and told him, and the people looking at him that Queen's English, he spoke beautiful Yoruba, and there was a round of applause. Do you think he added or diminished?
He did add.
Yeah, he did add.
Yeah.
So the parents should know themselves that their languages are it's an heritage. And should be proud of it.
All right. I am going to say thank you so much for having this conversation with us. Roger Musolokun.
Wow.
Thank you so much for joining us to talk about language diversity.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, friend.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci for coming.
Merci beaucoup. But before we let you go, I'm sure all of our viewers would like you to, you know, say one or two things in different languages just to tell them thank you, and also encourage them to, you know, speak more languages and learn more languages.
Okay. Bonjour à tous. Je suis très heureux pour être ici. Je voudrais dire la langue française et des autres langues, c'est très, très important. Merci beaucoup et que Dieu vous bénisse. Mein Name Adedeji Odulesi, ich spreche Deutsch, und Deutsch ist eine interessante, wunderbare Fremdsprache. Danke. Amigos míos, me llamo Adedeji Odulesi. Hablo español. Español es ein bueno idiomas. Muchas gracias. Let's come home now. Me, I be wafi boy na for reader for born me, and wafi na the first language when I learn apart from our English language. You ba mo Yoruba ni mi, Yoruba ni baba mi, Yoruba ni ìyá mi. Mo de dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run pé mo gbọ́ èdè Yorùbá. Ìjẹ̀bú ba mi Ìjẹ̀bú yé mi, so mi no problem pẹ̀lú èdè Ìjẹ̀bú. Èdè Ìjẹ̀bú ṣe pàtàkì. Ato na gode wa Allah madaukakin sarki domin alherin da ya bani na ji harshen Hausa. To tunda ina yaro a Sokoto, jihar Sokoto, wurin da na ji harshen Hausa, kuma alhamdulillah harshen Hausa ya taimake ni kwarai da gaske. Akwai lokacin da aka yi wani fitina a 2000 ya sauran kadan aka kashe ni, amma sai na je wurin wani mallam na ce aboki ina hanya, ina mafita, where is the way of escape? Say nuna min hanya. That's how I escaped 2000 genocide. I was not killed because I could speak the Hausa language. Umunde mendi wekele umuno. Obina atomu tom kuku ogob lamwe ohedo mai no ne bendi bono because undi bojure be ni le owe bi gaga no wa iga rendi bo. Even I'm telling you now, Sambisa desert. Sambisa forest. Ndi bo no re ba. We are business people. We are everywhere. We doesn't fear to die. Oga de layema ahambu Chukwuemeka. But my parents' name is Adedeji. Merci beaucoup d'être ici. Que Dieu vous bénisse.
Thank you so much. Thank you.